Hey everyone, Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, back with another Coach video cast slash podcast. My short burst of time with you every week to make sure that you're 100% dialed in on what it is you need to do to be your personal best. Like we like to say here inside Endurance Nation every day, day zero, first day to get back on track. Forget about what happened yesterday. Only make the best possible choices from here on out. Today's topic, in alignment with that, is adapting your training schedule like you know what you're doing, right? The reason why I kind of put that second half in the sentence there, simply because the majority of us, when it comes time to making changes to our schedule, really struggle, right? Super easy to advise your teammate or friend, if someone's going to do their first marathon, you're like, oh, of course, do A, B, and C, but not D. Skip that, go to E. I did D, it was super wrong. You'll be fine, right? Easy. 30 seconds or less, they've got a general sense of what they need to do or to expect between now and marathon race day. When it comes to our own decisions, however, things get a little more complicated. We don't really feel so sure of our own experience. We discount it in a way in favor of what's in front of us now. These websites in front of us, this person in front of you seems so self assured, right? So handsome, so confident, such an office, right? How could you possibly argue with these fake books behind me? But the truth of the matter is that you yourself are your own best guide. That's one of the reasons why we started Endurance Station, to unlock the power for self-coached athletes that lies within themselves. More often than not, we look externally when internally those other people are actually looking to us as a guide. So how do we tap into that inner strength, make sure that we're lining up decisions that actually have ramifications that are net positive for you, instead of having you sort of hopscotch around? That's the worst case scenario. Trying this for a week, trying that for a week, getting a little bit lost, training with a friend, overcooking it, having to dial it back. And this game of back and forth is kind of like, I don't know, going shopping in a mall with a teenager in Christmas season when, it's time to pick a homecoming date. It's all sorts of duck and cover and run around and craziness, and way too much noise, and really hard to figure out what it is you're actually doing, but it's going to cost a lot, whether it's time or money, or perhaps even both. So my goal here is to help you avoid that doomsday scenario and get you on track. So I've got 4 key points for you to make sure that you'll be ready to make the adjustments that you need and the ones that will benefit you the most. And of course, in true Endurance Nation fashion, I'm on the clock, so I'm going to get this ready for you so you don't have to sit around watch me for a super long time. All right. Are you ready? Okay. So the number one piece you want to think about when we're adjusting our schedule, like you know what you're doing, is that the first principle: choices are bad, rules are better. Okay. So if you have to choose, you say, well, am I going to do this workout or not do this workout? Right? Am I going to eat this or not eat this? Am I going to go to sleep now or not go to sleep now? Those are very binary choices. Do I want the light in my office on or off? Right? It's either all the way on or all the way off. Life is a little more nuanced. And in most cases, athletes like you and I, type A athletes, don't need to make choices. We're not really good at it, right? Like, of course, yes, more, less or more, right? Easier, harder, harder. Okay, right? Like 1 race or 2 races. Can we add them together? Can we please have 3, right? That's not our problem. Our problem is that we do a really bad job of following the rules. We think we're above them. We think beyond them. We think those rules don't apply to us, right? If I had $1 for every person, including myself, who thought they were one of those special people that only needed to sleep like 3 hours a night, when in reality, you'd have to be like eaten by a shark and struck by lightning simultaneously to be one of those genetic people. The reality is most of us feel like we are. So how do we get out of that? Well, we set rules, and rules are set based off our experience, what we know, right? So think about, again, I'll go back to the teenage example. If your teenager's been out repeatedly beyond curfew, you set a rule. You've got to be back by this certain time, or there's consequences, right? We set a rule about what we dictate our plan before we leave the house, right? We set rules based on learning. We need to do the same with ourselves. So have rules for yourself about how things go forward with your training. So rather than saying, should I or should not do this workout, you just have a rule that says, if I get less than 7 hours of sleep a night, the next day my workouts are easy. Same workouts, just done easier, right? Another rule, every time I travel in the winter, let's call it between November and March, anytime I travel in November and March, I take that day off. I just rest. I'm really smart because I usually get sick when I travel, and it's a pain in the butt to make it happen. I have to get up super early. Sometimes I'm late for my flight. It's a disaster. So just implement a rule. So give yourself rules when it comes time to adjusting your training schedule, right? Give yourself a flexibility mark. Here's an example. I take Sundays off in the winter for my own training so that I've got an extra space on the weekly calendar to move workouts around if I need to. However, my rule is that I never combine workouts. So if I miss a Monday, but I have Tuesday available, I don't just take my Monday workout and merge it in a Tuesday. Can only pick one of those 2 workouts. There's no merging going. And the better, it sounds like you're going to lose something, right? So the loss aversion there. But the better you get at setting the rules, and the better those rules are, and they're not hard and fast, they can evolve over time. But the better you get at setting those rules, the easier they become to follow, the more they are in alignment with your goals, and believe it or not, you have to make less bad choices. All right, awesome. That's number one. Second part here, and I kind of alluded to this already, but know your key workouts and prioritize them. So when you look at a week, if 7 days, and you've got, say, at least one workout a day, being type A athlete, probably have two on some of those days. Of all of those 7 workouts, you can only pick one. Which one is the most important workout? If you can only do one workout, great, nail that workout. For me, that's usually either my long bike or my long run in season, and out of season, it's usually my interval bike or my interval run during the week. And so I prioritize one of those sessions, right? And I say, okay, you can have one more key workout. What's the second key workout? You can pick that one as well, right? Then beyond that, we have a variety of workouts that support those key sessions. And then we have ancillary workouts that sort of fill in the baseline, help us build foundation, consistency, durability, general cardiovascular conditioning, maybe complementary for skills development, strength training, whatever it may be, whatever else fills your bucket, right? But we really start off with those key workouts. The reason why we want to pick those key workouts is because when the shit hits the fan, we want to know which workout we're going for. What's the one workout you can't miss? Because if you missed your Monday, because Monday was crazy and you missed it, but you already decided last night on Sunday, because we always plan on Sundays inside Endurance Nation, but you already decided last night that your Wednesday and your Saturday workouts are the most important, then missing Monday doesn't really matter because you've already said that Wednesday and Saturday are the most important. So Monday can't also be the most important because you already identified the most important sessions. As a result, today is not an important session, even though right now, in this moment, missing this workout, stuck in this meeting, stuck in traffic, stuck somewhere else, you're really feeling it and you want to do that workout so badly and you just hate missing it. But if you've already set your priorities, you already know what the key workouts are, then this is not an issue. So prioritize those workouts to make sure you do get them done. And if you have to move and shuffle lower priority workouts to get these key ones done, so be it. But we're always getting those key workouts done each week, right? Okay. Number 3, recalibrate every week until you're good. All right, this is really important. I mentioned this earlier when I talked a little bit about rules, but it's easy to say, oh, you know what? This week I got through Thursday before I had a problem. So next week, maybe I'll get through to Friday. No, it's not just going to be luck. Always, always, always take a look at the week and say, what's one thing I could do differently? At the very least, maybe there's 2 or 3 things that you could toggle that could make things a little bit better. So you have a good week and you say, oh, let me look back at my week. My Wednesday, Thursday, Friday sessions were really bad. Why were Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday sessions bad? Was I carrying fatigue from the prior week? Nope. Doesn't say it in my log, doesn't say it in my data. Oh, it looks like I was actually I was up late at a meeting, and then we had a family crisis on the next night, and the other night I was just restless. So as a result, I just got 3 bad nights of sleep, right? So now I know I've learned something from that. So this week going forward, I'm not going to say something, as crazy as no more crises, although that would be nice. Instead, I'm going to say, you know what? Again, I got to go back to reinforcing my rule. I'm going to be in bed by 9:30 each night, not in bed by 10:30. I'm going to give myself an hour buffer should something go wrong, so I can make sure that I've got those workouts in there. Or perhaps you were up late because you're someone who's on call for work. In those scenarios, then we just really make sure that the non-key workouts are only located on and sort of after the on-call evenings. That way, if you have to miss it, it's a non-issue. You just can just roll over as opposed to having to wake up and have this wrestling match with yourself about the key workout, and then where are you going to put it, and can you move that other day, and then you're not going to go back to sleep anyway, right? So we can start making small tweaks and changes to how we implement each week and how we adjust our schedule over time. Now, of course, your training plan may evolve over time. Inside Endurance Nation, our winter training program, known as the Out Season, evolves through 3 distinct phases. But the majority of the blocks stay the same. You can always check in with a coach and ask which of these key workouts are important and what changes have I learned from. One of the key questions that we ask on Sunday of our athletes, when we do our Sunday recaps or our monthly recaps, if you're in the program, the squad gets to do the recaps every week, but the program does it once a month. We ask them, what did you change and why? Like, what was the reason behind that change? I want you to be able to articulate it. Funnily enough, the athletes who can articulate why they made that change have a much better outcome because they've actually thought through it. Whether or not they went through the exercise in their mind, but they've actually thought through it, and it's a better result because it's something they're learning from and something they're adding into their routine that they'll be able to build on moving forward. All right, last piece of the puzzle here. We're still pushing hard, no worries. All right, here we go. The last piece, really my favorite piece, giving you a little bit of grace. There's no such thing as perfection. There is no perfect training week. Something could always be done a little bit more, a little bit better, a little bit differently, a new order, etc. And I tell you that for 2 reasons. One, so you give yourself some flexibility. Something's going to go wrong. You make a plan. It doesn't quite work out the way you want to. It's okay. Like, it happens to everybody. And honestly, if you're sort of getting 80% of your week done, believe it or not, you're in the top 5% of all athletes on the planet. It's crazy hard to make sure you get those workouts done on the schedule you want. Why do you think there's so many different types of training software out there? Everyone's trying to figure out if they could solve it with software. Really, it's usually a user problem. Anyway, so that's number one. And the second part about perfection I want you to realize is that we can always do something better. Always be iterating, always be changing. Take a look at what you could improve, and what elements could really make a difference for you. Sometimes it's as simple as adding a warm up. Sometimes it's adding a rest day. Sometimes it's changing your nutrition. Could be shifting workouts to different times of day. Could be shifting rest days across the course of your week. Could be training alone, training together, doing strength training, not doing strength training, swimming, or also not swimming like we do in the winter. And all of those items, there's many possibilities. Some might say even infinite possibilities that allow you to tap into your best possible version of yourself, but you won't know unless you try. Make lots of small changes, iterate quickly, evaluate constantly. You'll be able to take those changes and turn the adaptation of your schedule, which started out as a problem that you needed to solve, and turn it into a strength. So when something goes wrong, it's an opportunity for you to actually revisit that schedule, maybe actually make it even more effective over the remainder of the week that you have. This has been Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation with another Coach video cast / podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you getting your little dose of knowledge here from the team. If you want to learn more about us, go to endurancenation.us, where you can go ahead and apply for membership. Look forward to catching up with you soon. I'll see you on the other side, folks. Take care.